Newsfirst, face to face with Mariam Gunvijaya.
A very good evening. You're watching Face to Face on TV1, where we dive deeper into Sri Lanka's political arena. I'm Mariam Gunvijaya, and our guest this evening is a seasoned politician, I would say, former Deputy Speaker, former Minister, and SLPP MP Chandima Weerakkody. A very good evening and welcome on the show.
Thank you for inviting me, Mariam.
Sri Lanka's recent political landscape has been quite dynamic. We have talks on elections. We also have talks on Parliament being dissolved. And this, I would say, definitely highlights the crucial role that Parliament plays in Sri Lanka's economic environment and environment as a whole. And let me cut to the chase. Mr. Weerakkody, I have a question for you that I think is in the minds of a lot of people in our country. The sitting president, that is Ranil Wickremesinghe, came into power, I would say, first of all, entered Parliament with no people's mandate. He came through the national list. And for someone without a people's mandate, is now the president of a country with parliamentary mandate. Taking this matter into consideration, how effective do you think Parliament is in our country?
Well, it is due to a technicality that our law framers have not looked into the time we brought this constitution into being. According to the provisions of the constitution, if the sitting president dies or leaves, president can be appointed to be in office for the balanced term. So this time, unfortunately, the president who got elected left office, leaving almost 2.5 years of his term. So, as a result of that, I don't know, due to internal politics, the mandate was given to SLPP by the people. So, the moment SLPP elected president, who got 6.9 million votes, left, successor would have come from among close to 150 elected members of that party. But unfortunately, due to internal politics and to exhibiting the fact that that party is meant for a family, main reason being protecting the family, an outsider was brought in to chair the parliament as prime minister initially, without giving a senior within the party to succeed due to issues that the family would have faced with in bringing their next of kin to the party top seat. So a person was brought in and as the prime minister, then they had no option but to promote him again to be the president. So they could get 134 members to support him, to keep him in the seat. And it's like ironical, the number 2, that is the prime minister in the country, was also not chosen from the majority SLPP. That again was given to a party that had only 3 members. That is again a political tactic. This does not reflect people's expectations. And the understanding among general public at the moment, as was said by the president and the government, was that there will be a settlement in the country can be brought about within 6 months to 1 year, and immediately thereafter an election will be held so that people can appoint their parliament. Because according to the provisions of the constitution, there is no way that the president who got elected for the balance period can call for a presidential election without completing the period for which he has been appointed by the members of parliament. The understanding, the expectation of the people was that there will be an immediate general election, so that a parliament that reflects the expectations of the people can be brought back into power. But to date, that has not happened. So there is a huge concern about legitimacy of this parliament, not legality. There is obviously a lot of people feel that the president and the present government is not concerned about the feelings, difficulties, hardships of the people, because they are not answerable to the people. They are not a government which is accepted to the majority of this country, which was even accepted during elections. Subsequently, a government that gets elected can be rejected by the people. But this present government, present setup, the president and the majority of the cabinet were not even accepted at that point. So that is why people are waiting for an election, for an opportunity to elect a government of their choice as a democratic country.
Mr. Weerakkody, now this topic elections has been on top of much debate, much discussion. Everyone's talking about when the election is and what the election is. Now, even the founder of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Basil Rajapaksa, said that he thinks it should be a general election. And then we have other factions of the party saying that, no, it's a presidential election. Presidential election must be held. What is your stance?
No, this opinion is expressed not based on the requirement of the country or exhibiting the expectation of the people.
So what's the requirement
or for the benefit of the people. This is for the benefit of individuals and the individual parties. At the moment, SLPP strongly believes that days are numbered. They can be empowered only till an election is held. So if it's a general presidential election, they know, they are doing the election commissioner's job prior to elections. They are announcing results. They know if they contest presidential together with the sitting president, they're going to lose. So if you lose, if your presidential candidate loses, the president who's going to get elected will call for elections. And then your chances of getting a reasonable number back in parliament will be a dream. Because the trend is to support the elected president at the parliamentary election. That's the case in any country across the world. So SLPP understands that. Now they have announced the result. At the same time, president wants to now when people know usually that the trends have been close to final few months of a presidency. Officials don't take command of the president. So this president, being a very senior politician, who's crafty enough to, handle situation, he's now doing his best to confuse people. Now, majority of people, I know some people ask as to whether there will be elections, because he has a past of postponing two elections indefinitely. Local government, provincial government election has been postponed, and local government elections, having called for nominations, having spent a lot of state funds to process, having got the candidates to spend their and party money for campaign, abruptly he manipulated to block the elections. So at the back of the minds of the people, some of the people, they think this guy is capable of doing this. So he is pushing for, he says, I will have a presidential. Now I understand the latest arrangement has been, at the moment that is being discussed, is to have both elections together, which I think is fair by the people and the country, because then at least we can have two elections at the cost of a single election, which is at the moment something that we should look at as a country that is really suffering, and that as a country that needs political stability in order to attract investment into the country, in order to understand a government that we have to have a government that understands issues of the public. Now, for a country to develop, we have to. Our issue is the economy. We are collapsing. Now, if you look at our micro, medium, small and medium sector, 263,000 business enterprise have been shut down. 263,000 business enterprise. And being a lady, you know that 200 female business women have committed suicide during the past few days, few years. And the fact that small and medium sector contributes 52% of the GDP. We have only 2,500 top companies in this country. But there has hardly been any attention towards that sector. And this country, what is the most valuable in this country is our human resource. Human resource, to develop human resource, we must have young, talented, energetic, professional, educated type.
Do you see young, talented, energetic, professional people leading the country?
No, they're leaving the country. They're leaving the country. So in order to retain them in the country, the government have a strategy, should have a strategy. But what the government has at the moment done is they have imposed pay tax on them, particularly, and they find it difficult to survive. As a result of that, those who can afford to leave, everyone who can afford to leave has either left or is leaving or is planning to leave. So both sectors, for a country to re-emerge economically, you have to give priority to micro, small and medium investment and entrepreneurs, and then the young professionals. This government has not been addressing issues of both these sectors. But at the same time, they say, okay, now there is electricity, there is diesel, hotels are open. So that elitist, super rich, are very happy. That's all what they want. And now, you saw the diesel prices, super diesel prices were decreased significantantly.
Yeah.
Super petrol was also brought down in a significant amount. So then they can have now the New Year holidays are coming. No really season is coming. So the rich can really enjoy with the policies of this country, and their days are numbered because they belong to the elderly generation. But we don't see anything being contributed towards advancement of the young people and the small and medium people, which is I think which cannot be expected from a government that is not concerned.
So what should change in the government?
No, we must have
we need someone who focuses on different income groups.
We must have first of all, we must have a government that is acceptable to the people.
Okay.
We must have a government that is concerned about the grievances, hardships of the majority as well as the rich.
Yeah.
You can't take one side, and you must think of the country as a whole. You should not be taking sides and making one segment happy. Government should be for the country, for the people. Priority must be to promote the country, develop the country, not to retain power till you live.
So the head of state must change.
Absolutely, not only the head of state. And look at President Wickremesinghe is not a rogue, with that we must say. But does he understand the pulse of the majority generation in this country? He's now plus 75. Now he's your grandfather's age. So do you think that your grandfather understands how your generation feels?
I can't really comment on that because my grandfather is also not someone from who's lived his life throughout the political, the life and worked with all of the people who also play tactics, I would say, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
So that's a different topic, I would say. But is it? My question is it the president alone or is it the entire government? Because
no, entire government. President has not been elected by the entire. Look at the cabinet now. Now,
including parliamentarians.
Yeah, including majority of the parliamentarians and the majority of the the cabinet.
Okay.
Now the cabinet, now due to this political scenario or issue,
Yeah.
president is not in a position to appoint people who are competent to handle certain ministries, because he cannot appoint anyone outside the sitting members. Now even like you take past few months,
Okay.
some died, some were expelled, some were removed, but still whatever portfolios will have to be shared among them, because the moment he appoints someone from outside, chaotic situation will get aggravated.
Yeah.
So it's a pathetic situation. It's obviously, it shows that there is no political stability. It's not possible for this type of government to survive for the benefit of the country. So that is why I say this, I mean, you must let the people appoint parliament.
Yeah.
So then people can decide as to whether to re-elect them or bring new faces in. I mean, people must be given an opportunity. What is not there at the moment is that opportunity. People are waiting for that.
So what do you think the people require? What is the election that the people require? Both at the same time? Presidential election first?
My personal opinion is like, because we have to be concerned about cost factor.
Yeah.
If we can have both elections together, certainly that will be a plus for the country. At the same time,
If not,
either election, I mean, since presidential election can't be held till presidential
beyond the 17th of
commission,
October.
elections commission will acquire power as per the constitution only in July. So till such time, no one can fix a date.
Yeah.
But if the president wants, if he's really concerned about the country and the future of this country, without killing another few months, he can call for elections immediately and complete it within a matter of 1.5 months. And then there will be a solid government,
Yeah.
people's government. And then he can go for the presidential election. So it's up to a single man to decide. The presidential election, of course, he can't decide according to the constitution, as I said. Parliamentary is within his control. And then other elections can also be held. And I mean, holding elections is only one factor. Policy, now, there are certain, we have to implement certain policies together with the international community, IMF and various other agencies. We have to have a proper foreign policy. We have to maintain our foreign relations, and we have to, with all that, we have to be able to look into the issues of now look at education. Children find it very difficult to buy the exercise books even. Children find it difficult to go to schools. Luckily, I mean, we must appreciate the fact, I mean, leader of the opposition, Sajid Premadasa, openly said that the moment he comes, meals will be given to children, school children.
But the sitting president is also doing that.
Yeah, he is doing what the leader of the opposition proposed. And then the leader of the opposition was, he was known as pad man. He wanted to give the sanitary pads to school children. So that was also immediately. I mean, the president had all these 4.5 years to implement, but they didn't do it, this government. The leader of the opposition has been of the opinion from day one. But at least due to the fact that elections are close, they are now implementing. And then smart classroom concept.
Yeah.
He was not only preaching, leader of the opposition, he, in his own way that he can afford to, he started giving smart classroom. But now the government is also doing it. So, in a way, as opposition and as the leader of the opposition, we must be happy, he must be happy. Though he is not in power, present government is now beginning to realize his way is the way forward for the country.
But Mr. Weerakkody, don't you also think, considering the people's mindset, I know of people who are also of the mindset that, if the job gets done, that's all we need. So regardless of opposition leader doing it or the president doing it, if they get the smart classrooms, if they get the meals, that's all they care about. Don't you think it works like that as well?
No. What is important now in this country to deliver what the country needs for its future.
Yeah.
So whether it's done by the leader of the opposition or
But don't
whether
you think the people would vote for,
No,
if the president is also giving it?
people finally, you think now the president and the government think they can hoodwink people by doing these things towards the latter few days, few months of the government. Now they're going to give rice, 20 kilos of rice also on the 11th. They're going to give various things. So, but people, I mean, there is a past history of people getting attracted for atta and all kilo and all that. But now people are smarter. I don't think people can be fooled by giving. People know who was talking about. Now, when Sajith Premadas was talking about giving pads, he was called pad man and he was bullied. People like it was, and then about smart classrooms. Also they were, and when he was giving buses, he was called bus driver. But like he, in his own way, and then when he was talking about medicine, he was laughed at in Parliament. But finally the government had to do the same. And then the government had to appeal to him to contribute to various hospitals in his own. So we are representing an opposition that is not only talking. We are not representing a party that is only protesting. We are delivering, even being in the opposition, to the best of our ability. We are not government, to the people. It shows that the people understand this is a party, this is a man who understands grievances, pulse of the people. That is number one. I mean, if you take any successful leader in the world, first is, knowledge is secondary. The first is to be a person of people, person who understands problems of the people, pulse of the people. So yes, he's qualified. Not only that, like knowledge-wise, he doesn't just talk. So people will look at all that. People will want to know what our proposals are, what we suggest as a party, as a government when get elected to resolve the issues. And people will just not. Now your era is not the monologue era. It's a dialogue era. So you will not just listen now. When we were very young, we used to listen. Even in school, we used to just listen. But now I know my daughter and them, they don't just listen, they'll ask question the teacher. So we are in, now the politicians should understand, we are now in that era. So, but unfortunately, you take the president, the prime minister and the majority of the government, they belong to an era of my parents, grandparents of the youth of this country. So there's a mismatch. With this mismatch, they are still resorting to tactics that they adopted in 60s, 70s, 80s. That is why they are now trying to implement what is suggested, proposed.
But that is also the same government that's talking about AI and digital world and all of that.
Yeah, no, AI and digital world and all that was talked. Even Gotabaya Rajapaksa was talking about it. No? Any leader, that is why I said, leaders, now let's say I'm a politician. When I speak to my advisors, they will advise me, okay, this can be done, that can be done. But if I just like a parrot tells only, nothing happens. This country has had enough policies. This country, even this government has advisors who have brilliant ideas, who have brought in brilliant proposals. But implementation to the best satisfaction of the people and the benefit of the country is what lacks. So that you have to have a leader and a team. So that is why we say SJB as a competent leader who understands from the international level to the grassroots level, from the elitist person to the poorest man.
Mr. Weerakkody, while you speak on that, I wanted to come back into Parliament. Now, this is the people's problem, into Parliament. Now, if I recall right, Parliament was based on the Westminster model, where we had the upper house, the Senate, the House of Representatives and the lower house. but this was abolished in 1971. Now, if you have 4 layers, that means we have 4 layers of accountability. But now this came to one house, one layer. That's why people are always of the opinion that Parliament is biased and, it's very easy to pass bills and laws. And, even very recently, the Banking Amendment Bill, there was no proper debate. Vote was held, they passed it. The no confidence motion of Kehliya Rambakwella, who is in jail now, passed. Nothing. So why do you think there are issues like that? What can you all actually do? You all are also part of Parliament, but still.
We have to go in for, I understand, we have to think of amendments to the Constitution, think of a new Constitution, all that. I mean, that process has been going on, but nothing has been finalized.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is not the time now. This president has got some people to talk about constitutional amendments at this moment, which is not possible under any circumstances. This government has only 3 months.
Yeah.
By July, this president loses his power. His power will be taken over by the Elections Commission. So, but at the same time, the way in which even though we don't have upper house, lower house concept, we have commissions, we have the Constitutional Council. But the way, when you look at the conduct of
But everything that comes to a vote gets passes with majority vote.
No, that you cannot avoid in a democracy, because government is always in majority. But that is why we have passed constitutional amendments to set up independent commissions. But look at how they have been acting. Now the speaker, I mean, as a child when you were in a society, let's say to appoint a monitor in grade 1, only when there is the division where both sides are the same in number, whoever who conducts gets the discretion to vote the discretionary vote. That is there at any level. But this time when over the appointment of the IGP, what happened? 2, 4, according to the constitution, there has to be a certain number, 5 votes. There were 4 in favour, 2 against, and 2 refrained. Speaker didn't say anything. The speaker, when you look at it, is not in a position to use a discretionary vote because it's obviously 4 and 2. On his way home, or when he reached home, he decides, someone tells him probably, look here, take the 2 refrained as also ones who voted against, then they are 4 to 4. You vote. Can you vote like that? I mean, there is blatant violation. So, and about this acts also, online safety bill. Any bill for that matter has to be approved by the sectoral oversight committee of the respective subject. Otherwise, it cannot be taken up for debate in Parliament, even for a vote. But online safety bill, the sectoral oversight committee did not pass it. Report was not submitted. In spite of that, we didn't have to interfere, but we, together with the leader of the opposition, made representations to the president, to the speaker, and informed him that there has not been a certificate, that has not been looked into. He checked up, he found, but he thought that it was debated and passed. And unfortunately, the same people who passed it are now trying to bring in amendments to the same act. So that is obviously because this government is clueless. They are being dictated by people who are not answerable to the country. So it is not not the fact that there is no provision. There is provision in the Constitution. There is provision in the law. Now, even like when you speak to certain officials, also, what they say at committees is, sorry, there is no law. But technically there is.
So, Mr. Weerakkody, I know we could keep on speaking about the parliamentary system, the governing system of the country, the head of state and everyone under him and above us who are controlling our country. But time permits to discussion only. So thank you very much for joining us. That was MP, former Minister and former Deputy Speaker of Sri Lanka, Mr. Chandima Weerakkody. Thank you very much for watching us. That's it from us for tonight. Good night and take care.